Alf, today we're going to talk about 5 reasons Pokemon card investing. Pokemon investing is here to stay. Stick around. What's going on, Collectibles friends? It's another day. We are back again. We're going to talk about Pokemon cards and Pokemon card investing. 5 reasons to just smack you in the face as to why this is not going away anytime soon in my mind. Why people are going to still be buying Pokemon cards now and into the future. Number one, according to the Google, Pokemon is the world's most valuable media franchise, over $100 billion, that's with a B, in all-time sales. Of course, they've got the trading card games that go back 25 years. They've got video games. They've got the animated series. Pokemon Go has over 1 billion downloads. A lot of global demand. And I think that that's important to note as well. Global demand. You know, I also collect sports cards. I collect a variety of other different collectibles. Not all of them have that same sort of a global demand that Pokemon does as an IP. Number 2, huge demand, and people like me that are getting into and have been getting into buying and holding sealed product. And so does Pokemon print a lot of cards? They absolutely do. A lot of it gets opened. And that's the other part of this equation is, yes, you have a lot of people that are holding sealed product over the long term and over the short term, I guess, but I think over the long term is really shown to be very effective. But you also have a ton of people opening up this product, enjoying the cards, a lot of rip and ships going on. And so you've got kind of this nice mix of collectors that are holding and collectors that are ripping and collecting the cards. Number 3, Pokemon cards not reliant on serial numbered cards. This is something that sports cards moved into about 20 years ago or so. They've stayed on that track, and now it's almost like it's too far gone to go back. We just had 2024 Prism football cards released, and there was a record 63 new parallels, which means you have the base card, and then you have 63 different colors of the rainbow that make up all the other parallels. Still very popular on the sports card side, but Pokemon is not reliant on serial numbered cards, the big hits, the bounties, and the gambling side of trading cards. Now, there is a gambling side to Pokemon cards that I'll probably make a different video about, that it just was brought to my attention over the last few weeks that I thought was really interesting and a little concerning, to be honest. But most of it not reliant on that. Reason number 4, affordable products with steady growth. You know, you see a lot of these products that come out, most of them come out $80, $90, $100, $120 for a booster box of 36 packs. They don't have really, that I've seen, high-end Pokemon product that comes out and it's $500 a box MSRP or $1,000 a box out of the gate. No, it's all affordable style stuff. Different art, different variations, different characters, and that sort of a thing. But for the most part, it is affordable for the average Joe collector to buy into and collect Pokemon cards. And this is also very important for the youth, for young people that are getting in and collecting it. You know, they can't afford a $1,000 box of cards right out of the gate. And so this is a way for them to be able to participate, and it doesn't cost a fortune. If you're buying and holding sealed product, it makes it to where you can stack these. If you have the disposable income, you can buy a case of it each time a new product comes out, or you can go back to some of the old product and buy it at a little bit higher of a price. You can buy and hold and sit on it, and it's just a steady growth thing. It's not a massive spike, highly volatile type instrument. And I really like this because if you're somebody that is looking for steady growth over time, this particular sector has shown that. Now, of course, will it be that way into the future? Who knows? We can't see the future. We have no idea if the stuff will continue to go up, if it will go down, if it will go sideways. That's all stuff that's going to have to figure itself out on its own. But we have seen over time that this stuff has performed pretty well. All right, reason number 5, and we've got a few different things wrapped up into reason number 5. A deep collector base. There are just a ton of Pokemon card collectors, again, globally, but people that are just enjoying the cards. It's not all about getting into the latest one of one or the big gamble on this card or that card. Values do matter, but a lot of people just like filling up binders, completing sets of Pokemon cards. That's something that used to be common with sports cards. That is no longer common, especially due to the fact that you have For Prism, which we talked about 63 different parallels, the idea of collecting a player and having 63 different colors of that same card, it's just not something that people do nowadays. Maybe building out a base set, but even then, a lot of people don't do it. They're looking for the hits out of the box. And I know Pokemon card collectors are as well to some degree, but it's just lesser so. Just a very deep collector base that really enjoys the cards, the characters, and the trading card game. Which that's another part. The cards have utility. There is a trading card game, TCG, that is attached to the cards. It does add added utility for people that are playing the game. Half of my local card show has turned into Pokemon. It used to be heavily sports cards, and now at least half of the tables are Pokemon cards, collectors, dealers, and that sort of a thing, which has been a big shift over the last 3 to 4 years. There's a really strong singles market at a variety of different price points. When you look at PSA, the leading grader in the space for trading cards, half of their business almost is trading card games, and most of the TCG is Pokemon. Yes, you have Yu-Gi-Oh! Yes, you have Magic the Gathering, but the majority of that PSA business is Pokemon cards. And that, again, if you look over the last 3 or 4 years, that has been a dramatic difference. It did not used to be that big of a break in their business. It used to not be 50% almost of their entire grading business. So it shows you there's a lot of people opening up that product. They're sending it away to grading. They're either putting it in their collection, they're reselling it, so there's a lot of movement in this ecosystem. And the last thing, when we look at the collector base, especially when we look at sports cards, really the meat and potatoes, the heavy foundation for sports card collectors are the older generations, and they are collecting vintage cards for the most part, some modern, but a lot of vintage card collectors that go back collecting cards over 100 years on the sports card side. It's awesome. On the Pokemon card side, it's very interesting because it is the opposite of that. Of course, Pokemon cards came out in 1999, so really the older generation that's into Pokemon cards is 45 and under for the most part, 45 and under, and I would argue it's really 20s and 30s, and then you have the next generation, the young folks that are getting in, and they're getting into Pokemon, and guess what? In 20, 25, 30 years, they're going to have that same nostalgia that a lot of the 35-year-olds have today. It will cycle back. And again, I have to think how many more Pokemon sets are going to come out over the next 10, 15, 20 years. Now, will the demand remain the same? I guess that's the big question. That's always the variable in collectibles, especially when we're looking at trading cards. If the demand never grows and it stays the same, then it'll be great, I think, for people that are buying and holding this stuff. If demand does shift and maybe it down cycles, people just aren't as interested in it for a period of time, it could present opportunities in my mind. If sealed product does drop in price, maybe it craters, maybe it just goes to zero, what in quotation marks, right? It goes way down. I think that could be a good opportunity because, again, I'm looking at a lot of the young people that are at shows really enjoying this, and there is always that cycle of nostalgia that comes around every 20, 25 years. I think it will happen again the same way it has done with sports cards. I think it'll happen again with Pokemon in 15 to 20 years. And so that's why I think this is a really interesting space. I've got a variety of different collectibles, whether it be sports cards or action figures or graded video games or whatever it might be. And I want to add Pokemon into this. So I've started here over the last couple of months getting into the Pokemon side of things. Friends, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.